All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Super excited that you're here. I'm going to go right to my screen share, and I want you to write down the information on what I'm sharing with you, and I want everybody on this call to go get this. All right, so what you're looking at is 2025 yearly plan. If you Google the calendar club for, I'll just put this in the chat, never mind. I want you to copy and paste, and you can choose your colors. You could choose black and white. You can do anything you want to do. And what this is giant calendar, and it's going to go on your wall, and it's going to give you the opportunity to plan the entire year ahead of time. So I want you to plan 2025 before the year begins. And I'm going to share with you today notes that I took from planning your year for success. And this is not business success. This is success. This is to make a difference, to live a life that matters. I chose the video that I did today for a reason, and you'll pick it up, I promise. So here we go. The first thing I want you to write down is any strategy or system you use has to be simple. It has to be so that anybody could do it. Simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. If you try to make this complicated, you won't do it. It has to be really, really simple. All right, principle number one, there's 5 of them. Principle number one is time is undefeated. Please write it down. None of us are going to defeat time. Now, I remember when I was younger. Now that I'm older, I don't necessarily think this way, but I remember being younger and thinking, I'm going to live forever. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. I certainly didn't have thoughts. I don't know what that is on my head. I mean, it's just light. Sorry, guys. Skin peeling for being on the golf course too much. I certainly didn't think something could happen this year that would cut my life short. However, we all know that's a possibility. And what I want you to get from this message is urgency. Urgency to live a life that matters. You don't know how much more time you have left, so don't put things off. Be more urgent when you're planning things that is going to make a difference. Now, how do you defeat time? The way you defeat time is to do things. Do things intentionally. We're going to get into this in just a few minutes, but what are you going to do in 2025 that you're going to be able to look back at and be proud that you did those things? And it doesn't always have to be big accomplishments. Think of the video that I just showed you. Helping somebody walk across the street. You're going to get a feeling of euphoria from doing that. That's going to be very, very similar to the same feelings you get from accomplishing a big goal. Neither one of them are going to last forever. And you can create those kind of events in your life every single day, but you're not going to do it if you're not intentional about this. Most people, if you're honest with yourselves, if you look back at 2024, it probably looks a lot like 2023, which looks a lot like 2022. And I want to show you today how you can start living a life more on purpose so that 2025, 2026, 2027, and so on, you're creating events that you can look back on and be really, really proud of. All right, principle number 2, building your life resume matters. How you show up matters. Do things that you could be proud of. Do those things intentionally, meaning put them on your calendar. Things that you could look back on and be proud of. Play your life on offense, not defense. Put things on your calendar that are important to you before your calendar fills up with things that are important to other people. put things on your calendar that are important to you before your calendar fills up with things that are important to other people. All right, principle number 3. When it comes to goals, things that you want to do, more isn't better, better is better. If I asked you, just create a list of things that you want to do in 2025, most of you would write down a lot of things. I would too, by the way. And that's not necessarily the right way to do this. What if I said, pick one thing that you're going to do in 2025 that you can look back on and be really, really proud that you did that? What if I said, hey, let's create a plan so that every other month we do something that we normally wouldn't do? So at the end of the year, we've got 6 things that we did in 2024 that we wouldn't normally do. We have one big event that we can look back on and be really, really proud that we did that. I'm going to go deeper into that in just a moment as well. All right, number 4, do things that make you proud. The one thing that we all have in common is we want to feel good about ourselves. Now, remember, those things that you're doing that make you proud don't have to be big things. Think about the video that I showed you. Helping somebody across the street, giving somebody money who needs money. The little girl and her mom who were begging for money every day. The man in the video gave money to her every time he walked by her. Now, he didn't know why they were asking for money, but they were asking money so she could afford to go to school. Can he look back on that and be proud? 100% he can. Do things that make you proud. Remember, they don't have to be big things. You can create moments every day that you can look back on and be really, really proud that you did those things. All right, principle number 5 is plan a year that you are proud of. And we're going to go right into 4 things you can do when planning that year. Okay, so I want you to think about that big calendar that I showed you, and I'm going to teach you how to fill it up right now. So the first word that I want to give you is misogi. I'll spell it for you. It's M-I-S-O-G-I. And it's an old Japanese ritual, one event that we can do every year that is a defining moment. In 2019, no, it was 2020 because it was during COVID. In 2020, I walked from Boca to Key West. Now, I'm never going to forget that. I'm always going to remember that I walked from Boca to Key West. The year before that, I went on a boat trip, something that I've never done before, probably will never do again. But we went out on this 48-foot Hatteras and left Tampa Bay and went to Belize. Now, we were at sea for 4.5 days. I don't know how many of you have been on a smaller boat, smaller meaning it's not a cruise ship. I don't know how many of you have been on a smaller boat for 4 days at sea, but it's an experience. It's a crazy experience. And I can look back at that as a misogi for me in 2018. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that story when we get to the next thing. But what is the one thing that you're going to do in 2025 that's going to be your misogi? Plan it. Put it on that calendar that I showed you before the year starts. What is going to be your misogi for 2025 so that you can look back at 2025 and say, this is the one thing that I did that I am most proud of. Now, I'm going to go back to the gallery view because I'm going to pick somebody out of the group here. Joanne, talk to me.
What am I going to do in 2025?
No, you're going to be a participant here, but I'm going to do most of the talking.
Okay.
I'm going to break a rule here, everybody. So, Joanne, how old are you?
42. I almost forgot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So 42, the average lifespan in the US is 78 years old, but we're gonna put Joanne to, and I'm only doing this because the math is easy, okay, everybody? We're gonna go to 82, which means Joanne has 40 years to create a misogi every single year. one thing that she can look back on and say, that's my defining moment. Now, Joanne, imagine that you can say in 2025, I did this. In 2026, I did this. In 2027, I did this. In 2028, I did this. In 2029, I did this. 40 years later, holy cow. Is that living a life on purpose? 100% it is. That's the whole idea behind this. But it ain't going to happen if you don't plan it. If you live your life on autopilot, this won't happen. I promise you it won't. You have to plan it ahead of time. So what's your Misogi going to be in 2025? All right, the next rule is a rule that I call Perry's rule. Now, Perry was a lifelong friend of mine from the time I was 15 years old and we first met until 2022 when Perry passed away. Perry was somebody who lived life. Oh my gosh. I remember when I was giving his eulogy at his funeral, that was the message of the eulogy. This guy lived. He really lived. Now, Perry had this rule that he was going to do new things. He lived his life on purpose to do new things, things that he hasn't done before. And he didn't live the best life when it comes to accumulating stuff or making the most amount of money, although they did really well. But he won life because he lived on life on purpose. Now, the idea behind Perry's rule is every 8 weeks, experience something new. Put it on that calendar. Something you're going to do that you normally wouldn't do. Now, what that's going to do for you at the end of the year is you're going to have 6 events every 8 weeks. Hold on, let me do the math. Yeah, 6 events at the end of the year. Sorry. For Joanne, that would be 240 by the time she's 82. She's going to be able to look back at 40 defining moments that define that year, and she's going to experience 240 new events. Something that she wouldn't normally do. So I'm going to go back to that trip that we took to Belize, and I'm going to share a story with you really quick. So we're laying out on the bow of the boat in the middle of the night. It was probably like 3 a.m. And if you've never been 200-300 miles offshore at 3 a.m, you need to experience this with no lights and just look up into the sky. Holy cow. So amazing. One of the things that I learned on that trip is there's a satellite that rounds the globe every single day, and it crosses over every night at exactly the same time. So we would go out around that time. Now, I remember having a conversation with him, and I said, out of the billions of people who live on the earth, how many of them are doing this exact thing right now? And the answer is probably none. That's a new experience that we normally wouldn't have. Most people don't have, and we had it because we planned it. So every 8 weeks, plan something new that you haven't done before that you're going to do. Something new, a new adventure every 8 weeks. All right, number 3, every quarter add a winning habit. So every 3 months, add a winning habit. If you're not currently reading, start reading for an hour every day. Make that your new habit. If you read an hour every day, depending on how fast you read or reread and taking notes and so on, but if you read for an hour every day, you're going to read an average of a book a month. So at the end of the year, you're going to be able to say, these are the 12 books that I read in the last year. Let's go back to Joanne. 40 years from now, she's going to be able to say, 40 times 12, is that 480? She's going to say, these are the 480 books that I read. Wow. Create a habit every quarter. Get up in the morning, go for a walk. If you just get up in the morning and go for a walk for 2 to 3 miles every day, make it a mile, make it 2 miles. I don't care, but create a habit every quarter that you're gonna start. At the end of the year, you will have 4 new habits that make your life better. All right. Number 4, list your daily vitamins and do them every day. So if you remember when you were young, mom put out the vitamins and she's like, okay, these are your vitamins. Make sure you take your vitamins. Your vitamins are the things that you would love to do every day. What are those things? Write them out. Make a list of the things that you would like to do every day. Make one act of kindness one of those things. At the end of the year, you're going to have 365 experiences where you're going to feel a euphoria from doing that act of kindness. All right, this is your plan to win 2025. Now, I didn't say anything about business planning. That's a big class. But here's the thing that I want to leave you with, and then we're going to wrap it up. If you focus on building a big business, you might build a big business. You can if you create daily standards and stick to those standards. But if you only focus on building a big business, you might hit it and yet miss everything else. If you focus on building an amazing life, you're going to have an amazing life and you're going to build a big business. All right. Talk to me.
There's a book, and I can't remember if it's called 365 Days of Gratitude or 365 Days of Kindness. That book was one of the best books I've ever read, and it's tiny, and it changed the author's life. I can't remember his name either, but I'll find out what it is.
That's right. First thing I do when I'm coaching somebody who's in a period of their life where we'll just call it adversity, is have them create a habit of starting every day by writing 5 things down that they're grateful for.
John, a lot of my best books come from you. I just read Into the Storm and it was the best for the timing.
There you go. There you go. Love that. Thank you, Joanne.
It kind of sucked.
Brian first.
I was going to say, it kind of sucked when you did the math on people's ages and what's left. I mean, for a moment, I think we were all probably thinking, crap, what are we going to do? I mean, to put things in perspective, you know?
100%, right? You know, it's time to wake up, live life with urgency. I'm 62 years old, Brian. It sucks for me.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know,
that was a
Brian.
good moment.
I feel like every year gets better. So if you look at, look backwards, like, well, each year is getting better. So the quality is better.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. But just your life is finite. Like,
yeah, that's
you have a limit.
That's the point. I mean, you're both right on different points. And what Brian's point is urgency, guys. You don't know how much time you have left. You really don't. It doesn't really matter how old you are because anything can happen to any of us.
Yes, you could die tomorrow.
That's right, Jojo. That's right, Jojo.
I'm not staying. Do you want me to give this man? I'm staying.
Okay, Joanne, you're not talking to us. Sounds like you're ordering coffee or something. All right. Hey, Megan Clark. You have a party going on at your house. You're on mute, so we can't hear you.
Jacqueline, we can't hear you.
Morning, everyone.
There we go. Look at that.
Come here, top producers.
I love this. Oh my gosh. Like 40 of them there.
John, that's what they call a mastermind in the wine country.
Good morning. Leave it to Brian.
All right.
Brian, you're coming with us next time.
All right, everybody, make sure you hit that, order that calendar, please.
Yeah, one thing that when you bring the age into perspective, there's one person I listen to on YouTube a lot. He does the same thing, but he talks about vacations. Like, say if you only go on one vacation a year, you think about how many more years you have, and you're like, oh, I only have 40 more vacations.
That's right.
Makes you want to change things and do things a little differently. So,
Right.
yeah, that's what it made me think about.
That's
And
right.
Jesse Itzler just did a video on he calls it, I think, the big ass calendar. It's the same model.
That's
talking
what I
about-
taught you this morning came from Jesse Itzler. So
There you go.
you nailed it.
Yep.
That's right. So I'm going to give you my vacation rule and then we're going to go. All right, here it is. Write it down, everybody. Once a quarter, take a week off. Once a month, take a 3-day weekend.
Can you repeat the principle?
It's the vacation plan. And when you have that giant 52-week calendar, this goes on your calendar before anything else does. Remember? Put the things on your calendar that you want to do before your calendar fills up with things that other people want you to do. So once a quarter, take a 1-week vacation. Once a month, take a 3-day weekend. When you're off, you're truly off, which means no phones, no computer, no work. Never truly off, never truly on. All right, now that's a wrap.
Awesome call, John. Thank you.
My pleasure, Darren. You guys go make it a great day. See everybody tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. All right, guys. Bye for now.